So is this the best van toilet option available? I think so. Stay tuned, guys. I'll show you how I built this and why I think it's the best toilet option. There are a few main popular options for toilets. One of the more popular ones would be a cassette toilet like this one here. And I think this is probably the absolute worst option you can choose. I think it's really disgusting if you ever were to actually use this toilet and then have to dump it out. I did put this in one of the vans I built just to help for resale value, to say that I had an actual toilet in the van, but I never used it and I never would use it. I think it's really not even a valid option in my opinion. So this next option is a basically portable toilet seat that you can put a plastic bag over. Believe it or not, this is actually a very good option. It functions really well. It's very inexpensive. And one of the nice things is you can fold it away and store it out of the way. The one downside is it's really only good for basically a number 2. It's not really a valid option just for number 1s. What I really like about this one is after you use it, you just tie up the trash bag, throw it away, and everything's out of sight, out of mind. Now the next option is the Nature's Head composting toilet, which is really popular. Obviously it's very expensive. This one does function pretty well. I like that it has a separate tank for the liquids. What I don't like is having to empty that out. A lot of people say there's no smell with the composting. I don't know, I've never used one of these, but it still seems kind of disgusting to me to have to clean this out. Now the next option is the tiny separate waterless toilet. This one I really like. I used this on my last van. To me, this is one of the top options, but again, it's also pretty expensive. And one of the downsides with this one is it's very tall. So you can see in my last van, I wasn't able to build a bench seat around the toilet. There was no way to do it without having a really, really tall bench seat. That wouldn't really work. So I found out that Separate actually sells just the urine diverting toilet seat, basically, so that you can build your own custom composting toilet. And that's what I decided to do this time. That way I could build it custom into a bench seat and have the liquids going down into a tank under the van and have it on a switch so I can just flip a switch to drain it anytime I want. I don't have to touch anything. For the solids, that'll just go right into a trash bag that'll be in a bucket, and you can just tie it up, throw it away, and you don't have to deal with any kind of gross cleaning out of tanks or composting toilets. I think this is really the best option. It's the most sanitary and simplest way to solve the Vanlife toilet issue. So with that said, let me show you how I built it. So I've already got the plywood here. It's all cut. I bought the plywood at Home Depot, and if you have your measurements, you could have them cut it for you, which is nice because they can make a nice straight cut on that big machine. So I just made like a kind of diagram of all the cuts and the best way to do it to get the most out of one sheet of plywood. So people have asked to take a look at my plans and stuff, but they're not all that detailed. I just kind of work things out like that, and then made this little sketch here with all the measurements of how it's going to look, but I don't know how to say it. It's not really, doesn't make sense the way I drew it to the eye, but it makes sense to me. So I've got all the measurements. It's gonna be 30 inches coming out this way. The bottom part will be coming up 19, and then that's where the toilet is, and then there'll be another piece that goes on top of it to cover it. The total height will be 23, and then I'll build a little platform here to put your feet on so that it's a more natural height here, because right now my feet don't touch the ground when I'm sitting on the swivel seat. So I'll build the the other bench up to the same height as this swivel seat. That way it could have a nice table here and kind of face each other. And then this seat swivels too, so it can be like a nice bench seat and then the two swivel seats right here. So I'll get started on assembling this and I'll show you what it looks like. By the way, don't expect Home Depot to make the cuts perfect for you. Basically every cut is between 1/8 and 1/4 inch off. This one was supposed to be 21, and you can see it's quite a bit off, but I knew that going in. I always have them cut each piece like 1 inch or 2 larger than I need. That way I can cut it down to the perfect size, but it's a lot easier to cut a small piece like this than a big 4 foot by 8 foot piece of plywood. All right, I've got all the panels cut. After I cut the 2 sides and the front, I then put the guide on the table saw and cut them down to 14.5 high. And I cut 4 of these guys at 19, which is going to be the spacers. So now I can assemble kind of the bottom box. Now these will go here. And then we'll get some for the sides here. Okay, so the bottom part's pretty much built. It's not screwed in yet. I'm also obviously going to add paneling like the cabinets so it matches the cabinets. I'll do that at the end. The actual toilet will go here. This panel will be removable. I just have to use the template that comes with the toilet here to cut out the hole here. And I'll paint this white so you can access the bucket underneath. And then this piece will go over the top like so. One final top piece of plywood on top of this, and that'll be where you're going to sit for the bench seat. Now I just need to add a few more pieces of wood here so that this locks into place so it can't move. So this piece here will go in between these two, screwed only to the top piece, and that'll be like kind of a lip for to hold this in, and then I'll have another one over here. Actually, we'll only need 2 to lock this in. Okay, so now you can see what we got here. This is going to lock in like this. So this will be the top, and this can actually just get nailed straight down. And then I'll drill 2 holes just so I'll be able to lift it up. So luckily the toilet comes with this template. So I'm gonna get this cut out right now. All right, so this is going to go on here. This will get screwed down into the wood there. And it's a bit of a tight fit at the moment. So I'm gonna use the belt sander to kind of angle these in so that it'll go in a little bit easier, wedge in. Won't have to be in the exact perfect spot to get in. Okay, you can see how I kind of sanded that edge, kind of tapered it, so it should slide in a little bit better now. Let me go test it out. All right, it goes in much nicer now. Just kind of lift it in. Locks right in place. And once the bottom piece is screwed into the wall, it should be pretty sturdy. So these are the end panels here, and you can get these from whoever you get your cabinets from. This is a gray end panel to match the gray cabinets. And what I'm going to do is just line it up on the side here, trace it out, that way I won't have to scribe it against the wall again. we're getting there. Just 2 more pieces now. It's coming out pretty good. And then at the end, I'm going to have a little scribe molding that I have over here, just like I did the end of this cabinet here. So I'll cover that seam there, and I'll probably put one against the wall. Get closer. Okay, it's been a few days since the last clip. I spent the weekend in the van in Northern California, and I have to say, so far, this is really the best van I've built. It was so comfortable in here at night. And getting back to the seat here, the next thing I'm going to do is cover this seam here with an outside molding. That's this guy here. So I'm gonna cut 2 pieces. We'll nail this in. All right, that went in pretty nicely. And next, to cover these seams, I'm going to use this scribe molding. Okay, I'd say the exterior of this is finished. There's going to be a seat cushion that's going to go on top of here that I've ordered. That's probably not going to be here for another 2.5 weeks or so, so I'll just hold off on that. The outside of this is done, and the only thing left to do is set up the plumbing. I want to have it go under to a separate tank underneath, and that'll be on an electronic switch, and I've got a wire here for that already. So next I need to find a bucket that's going to fit under there for the solids. And a regular 5-gallon paint bucket is just a little bit too tall. It won't fit under there, which I knew going in. And I was planning on using this one here, which is the one I think I'm going to use. This is a 3.5-gallon bucket from Home Depot with comes with tile glue. You get this bucket, so after you use it, you can clean it out and use it like this. The only problem is just the front of the liquids diverter thing just comes like a little bit into the bucket here, so I might just have to notch the bucket. The other option would be to use this smaller bucket, but it's just a little bit too small. It's not wide enough. So I think this one actually kind of fits perfectly in there. Just have to make a small notch, and I took the handle out. And then I'll take like a piece of plywood for the base, cut like a hole out for the diameter of the bucket. That way this will sit right in place in that little notch in the plywood, and it won't be able to move anywhere while you're driving. Okay, I got the bucket cut down, and this is all screwed in now. And you can see how the bucket is here. And when this is in use, there'll just be a garbage bag around the bucket. And this comes out so that you can clean the bucket or take the trash bag out of the bucket. And you can see how I notched this. So now I just need to put a piece of plywood in here, and so this will stay in place like right here. So we got this piece of wood all cut, and this fits right in here real nice and snug. You have to kind of squeeze it in there so it won't be rattling around. We got this here. There you go. Then when you need to unload it, boom, done. So right now I'm drilling the hole out for the drain, and I've already made a pilot hole, as you can see, all the way down through the bottom of the van. And I checked that under there, and it's exactly where I want to be. So I'm just gonna finish drilling the rest of this hole out for the 1.5-inch pipe. There you go. That is an official hole. So the toilet seat comes with this hose, which just threads on here like that. And you can see it's pretty long. But I'm gonna cut it right here. I've already marked it. So I'm only gonna use that much of it. And then this will go into an 1.5-inch pipe. I'm gonna kind of thread it down there a little bit. It's really hard to film under here, but I just wanted to show you why I'm not going to be using another tank like this. This is my gray water tank, and it's about 5 gallons. And the main reason is there's no way to fit it anywhere around here. I can't fit 2 of them. There's not enough room between the muffler. This is all just sitting in place. This is going to end up like this, by the way. Nothing is glued down yet. That's the first reason. The second reason is because you can see that the drain here is not all the way at the bottom of the tank. There's always going to be a little bit of water in the tank. And for what we're using this as, basically it's going to have pee in it. I don't want to keep anything in the pipe when I drain it. I want it to drain completely. And the only way I'm able to do this is with this fitting here. So the only way I'm able to do it is with this fitting right here. And I'm going to attach this to my electronic valve, like so. This will get screwed on here. So I'll put this at the lowest point of the pipe. That way everything will drain straight down into that low spot. And you're probably wondering why I'm not using the black ABS pipe, which is a little bit stronger and made for drains. And that's just because of this fitting. They don't make this fitting in ABS, and this fitting is what's going to make this whole thing work. And you're not supposed to mix the white PVC with the black ABS, which I guess could be a possibility if I just use this one fitting in white PVC. I could do everything else in the black ABS and just have this one connection, even though you're not supposed to do that. But I think it's going to be fine the way I do it, so I'm sure everybody will let me know in the comments section that it's not going to work, but trust me, it's going to work just fine. Okay, just so it'll be a little bit easier to see, I've removed everything from the bottom of the van. So this is basically this weird little shape I created just to make something big enough to fit enough liquid in it that this will act as a gray water tank. Right here I'm going to splice in the drain, and then I haven't decided where, but somewhere else I'm going to splice this piece in with this pointing up just as an air vent. And then over here is coming up into the van, and the level of the floor is right here, and I'm going to splice in this on-off valve. That way I can leave this closed when I'm not using it, so there won't be any smells coming into the van. It'll be completely sealed off. So this is the electronic valve I'm going to use. I've already got it on here with some of the pipe thread sealants. It's going to hang down like that. And this is a 3/4 valve I'm using instead of the 1/2 inch this time. I've got a 3/4 nipple in there from Home Depot. I'll put a link for all the parts I'm using. Alright, so that's in. And then I also added this piece. It's just going to go like this. That's going to be like an air vent. So the way I'm going to secure the pipes up under the van is with these clips here. These are just from Amazon, and they fit perfectly over the 1.5 inch pipe. Then I'll use these screws just to pre-drill, and then I'll use these stainless screws to secure it up there permanently. Alright, we are all connected under here. It wraps around that way, and then goes up through the van straight ahead, right up there. There's the valve, there's the vent. I've got a bunch of stainless brackets holding it in a bunch of different places. It's completely firm, it won't vibrate at all. I connected the pipe up top, I'll show you that right now. So up top I have connected this pipe here with a shut-off valve, and this will be good because when you're not using it, you can keep this closed and there'll be no smells coming into the van. And then when you want to use it, you can just open this. And then this right here drops right into that pipe there. Okay, I'm gonna test this now. I've got a cup of water here. Pour it down. Looks like no leaks there. I can go check under the van. I'm not sure if the valve is open or not. I haven't made the electrical connection yet. This is on the other side of the van, and as you can see, nothing's leaking. I believe this valve, let's see if we can see in here, the valve is closed right now. Sorry, it's hard to film under here, but this is your general setup, and I think this is going to work really nicely. So the only other thing I need to do is just run the power wire down to here and over to the switch. Then we'll put a fuse in it and this should be good to go. You can see where I ran the auxiliary wire here for this purpose, and I kind of wish I would have had it coming out right here, but that's where I put it. So next time I'll make a note to make sure I put that wire coming out right around this area. But anyway, I'm just chiseling out here. I'm gonna drill through here, and then I'll just put a little quarter round molding all the way across, and you'll never know it's there. It actually might look better with that quarter round molding anyway, to give it something against the floor. Okay, so this is the switch I'm going to use, and I've showed this before on like the gray water tank videos. It's a double pole, double throw switch. This is the switch you need to use with the electronic valve that I'm using. And I'll have a link for this and a link for the valve. And it's really important that you get the correct ones, because there's a lot of different valves, different wiring. They won't work with just any switch. So the way this works, these two middle terminals here, that's where I'm going to connect the power wire, positive and negative. Doesn't matter which side, either or. You can see here, this is the power wire I have pre-run through the wall, going back to the fuse panel, and I have it coming out right here. So that'll get connected in the middle here. Then we've got this wire, which is going under the van, connected to the valve. I've got a positive and a negative that I've pigtailed a second positive and negative to each end. You can see here. So what you're gonna do is put one, I cut my finger by the way, but one positive on this side, one negative on this side, and then on the bottom you flip it, so the negative on this side, the positive on this side, and then the power positive and negative in the middle. And the way this valve works, it only uses power when you move the valve from closed or open, and then it doesn't need to use power to maintain it closed or to maintain it open like some of the other valves. Some of the other valves use a tiny drop of power to keep the valve, I think it's closed or open, one or the other. And if the power goes out, then it flips to open or closed or whatever it is. So this, you're not using any power to have the valve. Only when you flip it from open to close does it use any power. So that's the reason to use this valve. And then I have a little faceplate I'm going to drill a hole for, and this will get mounted behind the faceplate. Basically exactly like I did right here, except it'll be a single plate. Okay, so I dremeled out that little notch for the wire there. And then it's running into the box here. I have this baseboard molding I'm going to use. And then I just notched out just for that one part where the wire is right there. This should fit right in here. Just like that. Just going to nail this in. That should be good to go. So that's it, guys. This is the finished product here. And you can see I have the cushion on now. This just lifts off. And I can pull this top piece off. And once the top piece is off, we've got the toilet here. This is draining into a tank below on that valve. And when you want to drain it out the bottom, just flip the switch. That's closed. You can actually hear the switch moving under the van. Then we open it back up. Everything will drain out. This can easily be pulled out. And then you can empty out the bag. And this just slides right back in the pipe there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys like this one. I think it's a great option for a van toilet. Wasn't too hard to build either. So I think you all could probably do this. And if you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.